9 News Plus weather, sponsored by Carrier Colorado. The future of home comfort is here.
Hey, thanks for joining us here on 9 News Plus on yet another busy weather day here across Colorado. I'm 9 News meteorologist Chris Bianchi. So we got a lot in store for today. In fact, you name the weather, there's a pretty decent chance somebody in Colorado is going to see it later on this afternoon and this evening. We've got anything from severe thunderstorms to perhaps as much as 2-inch per hour snowfall into the mountains, to temperatures that could get close to maybe even 75, 80 degrees in the southeast plains, to temperatures tonight that will drop down into the teens and 20s for us into the mountains. So a wide range of weather, one of those wacky Colorado weather days ahead for us. So we'll break it all down for you. But in terms of those overall impacts, I think for us here in the Denver area, it's going to be a lot of rain, a cold rain for us starting this afternoon, probably by about mid to late afternoons when we'll see that rain move its way on in, and it could be accompanied by some thunderstorms. Meantime, for us here into the mountains, Loveland ski area right now, in fact, some peaks of sunshine overhead right now. Enjoy the sunshine while you got it, because that is going to look markedly different in about 2 or 3 hours when we get a burst of snow that's going to move its way through the I-70 corridor. So again, if you're heading up through the high terrain, go now, go today, or go now, because come this afternoon and tonight, it's going to be really, really nasty up there into the high country. Meantime, for us here in Denver, we've had a fair bit of sunshine, and that's actually spiked our temperatures a fair bit. In fact, well, I'll show you in just a second what we raised our temperatures, our forecast high temperatures for here for this afternoon here into the Denver area, and that could actually prompt a few showers and thunderstorms to develop for this afternoon. So we'll see that rain develop between about 2 and 6 o'clock this afternoon. And again, that could be accompanied by some stronger storms, especially in southeastern Colorado, into the foothills, in the mountains. That's where we're going to be looking at a fair bit in the way of snowfall starting this afternoon and tonight. And all this will come to a close tomorrow, most of us ending with our rain and snow tomorrow morning. All right, winter storm warnings for most of the foothills and also the Palmer Divide, as well as through the Sangre de Cristos and the wet mountains of southern Colorado, and extending west into the West Elks, the Saguache, as well as the Gore and Mosquito ranges of central Colorado. Into the kind of far western mountains, this would be more into the flat tops, the San Juans. That's where we do have winter weather advisories, as well as for Pueblo County on south into Trinidad, and also Colorado Springs, El Paso County, winter storm warning in place for our friends out that way. AC Doppler radar starting to get a little bit more active for us in the last couple of hours. Right now in the eastern plains, a few light showers for us up by Carr as well as Pete's, but then again the far eastern plains, Burlington seeing a few showers as well as Kit Carson. But this is where the majority of the action is, and this is the energy for our storm system that will be ramping up this afternoon and this evening. In fact, if you look at that, just kind of squint there by Durango, that is some thunder snow that is taking place there into the San Juans right now. So just an idea about the amount of energy that's associated with this storm system, and that will eventually tap into moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. And what all that means is we got a lot of rain and a lot of snow on its way for this afternoon and tonight, depending on your elevation. So come 5, 6 o'clock, the I-25 corridor looking at rain, heavy at times. Colorado Springs, probably rain for you to start. Same for us in Pueblo, but this will flip over to snow pretty quickly after dark tonight. So come 8, 9 o'clock or so for friends in Colorado Springs and Pueblo, this will flip over to snow. For the Denver area, for the immediate Denver metro area, this is probably going to be mostly on the rain side below 5,500, 6,000 feet in elevation. Foothills, very different story. I'll show you that in detail in just a second. That rain continues to spin south and east as we head through the overnight hours. Heaviest of the rain for Denver and most of eastern Colorado will be overnight tonight and through tomorrow morning. For Denver, the rain comes to a close by about 7, 8 o'clock or so tomorrow morning, and then it will shift into southeastern Colorado, and that's where we could see as much as 2 or even 3 inches worth of rainfall from this one storm alone. Now, closer looking here at the Denver area. So come about 3, 4, 5 o'clock, that's when I expect the rain to start. It could come in the form of some rumbles of thunder. It is warm out there right now. It's warmed up, frankly, higher than I think what a lot of computer forecast models had. We're getting to the low 60s. That gives us a bit more energy to work with, and most likely what that's going to mean is that we're going to see some rumbles of thunder around for us come 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock this afternoon for us in the Denver area. Then on the Palmer Divide and into the foothills above 7,000 feet in elevation to start, but dropping about 6,500, 6,000 feet. We'll flip things over to snow pretty quickly. On the Palmer Divide, we could start with anything. In fact, we just had meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen just in here a few minutes ago. And I'll quote him, he said, "I'm really excited." He's heading down to the Palmer Divide, and he is bracing for anything from sunshine to thunderstorms to grapple to thunder grapple to thunder snow out there on the Palmer Divide. He's going to be in Elizabeth for the 4 and 5 o'clock shows this afternoon. So just to give you an idea that this is one of those wacky weather days where we could literally see anything come 4, 5, 6 o'clock this afternoon. Denver area, again, I think we'll start as rain. Again, anything below 6,000 feet in elevation, it's the majority of the metro area. This will be mostly rain for us. And initially we can get those rumbles of thunder. This will transition over to a cold, stratiform. What I mean by that is just kind of plain rain. It's not often, by the way, here in the Denver area. We just get a plain rainy night. That's what's ahead for us here in the Denver area. It's a great drink of water for your garden. It'll help with the drought. It's just good in general, but on the foothills, into the foothills in the Palmer Divide, that's where we're looking at that potential for some significant snowfall. And in fact, we could be talking about, in some cases, above 7,000 feet in elevation, the potential for down trees and power lines. So worth keeping that in mind, of course, as well. For the overnight hours, the rain will continue. It will come to a close around dawn for most of the Denver area, and then it will slowly ramp on down across southeast Colorado through the day tomorrow. There's a chance for some severe thunderstorms in southeast Colorado, wind and hail. Can't rule out a tornado or two out in southeastern Colorado as well, but it's going to be mainly a wind and hail threat along and south of Highway 50 and east of I-25, so kind of La Junta on south is where we're going to have that greatest chance for seeing some of those strong, severe storms. Temperatures right now, 56 for us in Denver. Again, this is a fair bit warmer than I think what the computer forecast models had. It's also been a bit sunnier, just a bit more dry air at the mid-levels. That's allowing those temperatures to get a fair bit warmer than I think was forecast. If you look around Denver, which is fascinating, everything around Denver is in the mid to upper 40s, so about 10 degrees cooler right now than Denver. It's this little pocket of sunshine that we got in Denver, and that's a lot of those temperatures to warm on up. Trinidad 60, and maybe a few spots in southern Colorado get up to 70, 75 degrees this afternoon. For today, 60 degrees for us in Denver. We were just, meteorologist Greg Perez and I just kind of bumped up those forecast temperatures a little bit. Rain starting between 2 and 6 p.m., probably closer to the front end of that, but if the storm looks a tick later, so just keeping that 6 p.m. in mind, just in case things don't fully transpire with those thunderstorms. So I do think we'll see a few storms develop come around 2, 3, 4 o'clock, but in case you miss one of those, that rain may hold off until 5 or 6 o'clock this afternoon. No matter, it will be mostly cloudy in the next couple of hours. I know it's still mostly sunny right now. Those clouds will fill on in the next hour or two. Tomorrow, rain and snow early, probably mostly before about 9 a.m. or so, and then it'll clear pretty quickly. If you're south and east of Denver, that rain and that snow will hold on longer than the immediate metro area. Tomorrow, temperatures 40s and 50s for us, and that snow forecast, again, you get up into the mountains, and that's where we're going to be looking at a lot of snow for us along and east of the Continental Divide. East facing Front Range foothills could be bracing for as much as a foot or more of snowfall. Palmer Divide, as much as 7 to 8 inches worth of accumulation. I'll have more details and all that here in just a second. But in terms of that snowfall forecast for the Denver area, not a ton. I think we end up with probably little to nothing here in town, but I kind of want to walk you through the timing of this forecast a little bit as well. So come again into Denver, 3, 4, 5 o'clock. That's when we'll see those showers, and notice some of that red, some of those thunderstorms that do develop for us into the immediate metro area. Again, 4 or 5 o'clock, we'll have the chance, a pretty good chance, and I would say a growing chance of seeing some rumbles of thunder, maybe a little bit of hail, maybe some gusty winds within some of that as well. And then by about 6, 7 o'clock or so, we'll start to see that transition over to snow above 6,000 feet in elevation, including the foothills, including the Palmer Divide, When exactly that flip takes place will determine who gets some of those higher end snowfall totals versus who ends up with some of those lower end snowfall totals, maybe just a slushy couple of inches. Denver, we may flip the snow before dawn. I don't think we're going to end up with much, if any, accumulation here in town. But we're going to see a fair bit of rainfall, and that is great news. We need the rain, and even this looks to me to be a lower end scenario. Some computer forecast models have more than what you're looking at on your screen. But if we end up with a widespread 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of rainfall, that is great news for our drought. This would put a dent in it. It's not a drought buster, but this would certainly put a solid dent into it. And notice some of those totals on the south and west sides of town, closer to about an inch, if not over an inch, worth of rain and melted snowfall equivalent. That's just a lot of moisture. It's just good news for what's been a very dry start to our spring. Now, broad things on out, look at where the bullseye is. The bullseye of the storm, look at that in Pueblo, 2.5 inches of water. This is one forecast model, so don't take this to the bank or anything, but Lamar, about 2 inches worth of rainfall. Springfield, 1.5 inches. Folks, this is, I mean, just awesome news, because if you overlay where the worst the drought is, look where the worst the drought is. It's across southeast Colorado, and going back to that precip map, look at this. I mean, you couldn't draw this up more perfectly if you wanted to. This is exactly where you want to get that heavy rain. This is exactly where you want to see all that moisture, and it's going to coincide perfectly with those areas of highest drought. So again, as long as we can avoid some of those nasty consequences in the foothills in the form of down trees, down power lines, this is a great news storm system. This is, I mean, look, this moisture is going to be more than a dent in the drought. This is going to put a sizable dent into the drought for us across southeast Colorado. In some cases, could get close to drought busting territory. This is that impactful of a storm system, and in a very, very good way. Also, flood impacts will be very limited from this as well, because it's going to be spread out over several hours. This is not coming in 1 hour, so flash flooding not a concern. River levels are low. This is an overall good news storm system. Now, Denver, snowfall amounts, everybody's always curious about those. We're most likely going to just end up with a little bit of slush on the back end of this, probably under an inch of snow. There's a 30% chance we end up with a slushy 1, 2, maybe 3 inches, and a very, very slim chance, 1 in 20, we end up with more than 3 inches of snow. Castle Rock, different situation. Castle Rock's right on the border, and I would say for my friends down in Castle Rock and to the foothills between about 6,000 and 7,000 feet in elevation, you continue to be the tricky spot in terms of this forecast, because you're right on the cusp of getting some of that heavier impact snowfall. Once we start getting about 5, 6, 7 inches worth of snowfall, that's where I start to worry about down trees, down power lines, because A, those leaves are budding. That adds more surface area for that snow to stick onto. It further weighs down to those trees. And then B, the water content within the snow is going to be very, very high. There's going to be a lot of moisture within that snow that falls, so it's going to be a heavier, wetter, and higher impact snow than usual. Normally a 6-inch snow, it's not that high of an impact for us, even into the foothills, but this time of year and with this kind of storm system, this could be quite concerning for us into the foothills. So Castle Rock, you're right on that cusp. I would plan on a higher end scenario, plan on perhaps having to shake those trees overnight tonight, and if you have a weaker or older roof, clear that off if you can during the night. I know it's annoying, but you want to certainly avoid some of those worst case scenarios. And there's also a non-zero chance that we end up with a double-digit snowstorm there into Castle Rock. And then Evergreen, 7,000 feet or above, this is where we start seeing the real deal, the doozy kind of snow. Conifer, Bailey, boy, this is where we're talking about probably somebody within Conifer Bailey is going to come in with over a foot. Evergreen, maybe a tad lower, maybe a little less than that. I'd say you're probably somewhere around 6 to 10 inches is your most likely range for our friends up there into Evergreen. Again, around 7,000 feet in elevation. You drop below 7,000 feet and you're probably looking a little lower at this point in terms of those snowfall totals. 7-day forecast. Once we get past that, we got sunny skies. And by the way, Friday morning, I'll say this, got a decent chance of getting a couple inches of snow once again for us here along the Front Range. Some wet snow. This will be Thursday night, Friday morning, where we could get some more wet snow en route for us. So we're not done yet. Then the weekend looking gorgeous. Look at that. Fantastic. About 70 and sunny both days. And then Monday and Tuesday, a few afternoon showers and storms return. And all this moisture will help put, hopefully, a dent into this. We've only picked up about 3/4 of an inch of rain and melted snow since the start of March. That is only about 1/3 of what we should get over that time period. And it looks like we're going to make up a fair bit of ground with not only this storm, but perhaps the one on Friday as well. So overall here, folks, if we can avoid, I love snow. Honestly, the reason I got into weather is snow. I love snow more than anybody, but a late April snowstorm, a late April heavy wet snowstorm, it's not fun for anybody. So as long as we can avoid, 8, 9, 10 inches of snow in Castle Rock and Evergreen, it's obviously a distinct possibility, as I just showed you a second ago. But the point is, there's a lot of water within the storm. If we can avoid that destructive down trees, down power lines sort of situation in the foothills, it's hard to call this anything other than great news, because we do need the moisture across eastern Colorado, and we're going to get a heck of a lot of it from this storm system coming up this afternoon and this evening. And knock on wood, we end up with some of those 2-3 inch totals there in southeast Colorado. That is going to make a major difference in our drought and really help out agriculture interests in that part of the state. I know I've heard from a few farmers out there, and they are, I know, excited about this, and I am as well. And yeah, we'll see how this all plays out. But a lot of wacky weather coming up this afternoon and this evening. Of course, we'll keep you posted the very latest on it. Meteorologist Greg Perez getting ready for 9 News at noon, and he'll be right here on 9 News Plus at 2 p.m. as well, tracking this all for you. Then we got Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin in at 4 and 5, and then Meteorologist Danielle Grant in at 6, 9, and 10 tonight here on the 9 News Family Networks. We got a big weather team where you are all on top of it, tracking it for you. So stay with us here on 9 News for the very latest on this very impactful spring storm.